Hello and welcome. I'm Abhishek Singh, and you're watching the Hindustan Times. When a country enters a conflict or a war, it is with a clear objective. As did India, India's aim was to hit the terror infrastructure inside Pakistan under Operation Sindoor. India killed over 100 terrorists inside Pakistan since Operation Sindoor started just a few days ago. Some of those killed were high-value targets. I have that list with me right here. But there's no point in naming them. Indian forces have. You can check those details there or in some of our previous broadcasts. There is no point in continuing to give their worthless lives any more importance. So let me circle back to the objectives or what India did during Operation Sindoor. The Indus Waters Treaty is in abeyance. Pak's stonewalling efforts, as far as renegotiation is concerned, won't work anymore. A new precedent has been set. Terror attacks can and will lead to cross-border strikes. Multiple air bases were hit. Its planes were down. Military, political, and psychological dominance was established over Pakistan. And Pakistan, of course, has claimed victory. Unlike India, for evidence, however, it will ask you to look at social media. But there are some questions which still need to be answered. And for that, I'm joined by my senior colleague, Shishir Gupta, Executive Editor, Hindustan Times. Good morning, sir. Operation Sindoor is still in place. There are some dramatic developments that happened over last 48 hours. The firing between the two countries has stopped. But at this point in time, one of the biggest questions which a lot of Indians are asking is, did India stop Operation Sindoor or put it on pause as far as the firing is concerned under US pressure?
Abhishek, I can answer this question very clearly. If you look at it, you will find Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif thanking US President Donald Trump for his intervention. I am sure you would have seen that there is no such tweet from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India always exercises strategic autonomy. India is not looking towards somebody to help its cause when it comes to national objectives, military objectives, political objectives. I think I will take you a little bit back. I get a sense of deja vu because I covered the Kargil War for Hindustan Times in 1999. Right. In 1999, it was Shehbaz Sharif's elder brother, Nawaz Sharif, who was taken for a ride by then Pakistan Army Chief General Pervez Musharraf, a Muhajir. And it was Nawaz Sharif who was made the sacrificial goat when he was summoned by then US President Bill Clinton to Blair House on July 4th, 1999, and told to back off. The then Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, did not either accept the invite to go to Blair House or accept any support or any third-party intervention. Cut to 2055, Operation Sindoor. Again, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has been made the scapegoat by Army Chief Asim Munir and has used the US support to somehow back off from a total military and political disaster. Again, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has the same political DNA as Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, is not looking for any support from anybody, is very clear as to what he has to do. The understanding or the cessation of hostilities or no firing understanding that has been reached by the two DGMOs, that stays. Otherwise, we have not looked for anything or any support or any third-party intervention because there is no reason for anybody to intervene, whether it is Indus Water Treaty abeyance, and there is no Kashmir issue. The only Kashmir issue that is left as the government says, is return of occupied Kashmir.
Okay. But the reason this question has come up is, of course, because, and these are some tough questions which the government and, of course, India as a nation also needs to sort of, answer for its population. And one of those questions is it not a fact that JD Vance and Marco Rubio had a word with the, Indian officials, including with some of the ministers, including S. Shankar and the foreign minister, and of course the prime minister as well. And that is the reason this question is being asked. That the decision to put a pause as far as the fighting between two countries is concerned was taken after that.
You see, Prime Minister, External Affairs Minister S. Shankar, National Security Ajit Doval did accept calls from the leadership of the Trump administration. There is no doubt about it. But I am very clear that all three made it very clear to them that they will impose very strong penalties on Pakistan for Pahalgam massacre. They were very clear. Beyond that, there was no conversation. Let me say that to you. There was no conversation, and everybody insisted that we will retaliate to anything that comes from Pakistan, even post Sindoor, Operation Sindoor. The Operation Sindoor still continues.
Yes.
Right? So the point is, second thing, let me also tell you, there was pressure that the Chinese wanted to talk at the behest of the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis wanted to talk, but we made it very clear that the only line that is open is the line of the Director General Military Operations, that is Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai. If you want to talk something, you talk to him, because he was the person who informed you when Operation Sindoor was launched on early morning, May 7th, when 9 terrorist infrastructure camps were destroyed by the Indian Air Force using missiles and heavy weaponry.
Talking about those missiles and heavy weaponry, uh, was there a nuclear dimension to all of this? To the sudden development that we saw when, of course, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri, joined the, press briefing as and when he was supposed to, in fact, a little later, and, made a very brief and short statement and said that this is being put on pause and I'm, of course, referring to the fighting and the artillery and bomb exchange between the two countries.
I think, Abhishek, I'll take you back again to 1999. This is a template which the Western world always plays. Whenever there is an India-Pakistan skirmish or anything like that.
Are you referring to the NYT and FT reports?
I will not name newspapers. I will not say anything beyond that.
Okay.
I am telling you, whenever there is an Indo-Pak skirmish, the Western world tries to bring the nuclear element into it. Then they use Western media to say that actually there was a huge threat. There was this, then this whole concept of mutually assured destruction comes. And Pakistan uses this to slime away from any offensive by the time Pakistan is fully on the mat. And this is again what has happened. Let me tell you categorically that the nuclear dimension did not play out at all. The nuclear word was not even mentioned anywhere. Let me be very clear on that. And all this is basically trying to put pressure on India, saying that, the nuclear dimension happened. India actually targeted the Kirana Hills where there was a nuclear storage depot. Nothing of the sort. India knew what it was targeting. India knew what was its retaliation. India knew where it had to bomb, and did with precision guided ammunition, whether it was BrahMos missile, whether it was Scalp missile, whether it was Hammer missile. They had a range of weapons which they use to attack Pakistan. The fact remains is that once Pakistan opened this drone offensive, India punished them severely by attacking at least 11 air bases and its air defense installations. The entire eastern part of Pakistan, the entire important places of Pakistan, F-16, Mirage, all they were all. Let me tell you, Abhishek, it takes guts to attack the Chaklala Air Base, the Noor Khan base in Rawalpindi, and India did that without even blinking.
Right. And some of those pictures of that destruction caused by Indian missiles was, of course, shared during yesterday's press briefing. Now, in, of course, about an hour from now, sir, the conversation between DGMO of India and Pakistan will take place, and we will see what comes of it, and we will have that discussion then. But there are some more hard questions which need to be asked, and one of those questions is about the superiority of the Pakistani Chinese weapons, especially in the context of Rafale, because there are reports going around that India's Rafales were downed. And when this question was raised by a journalist during yesterday's press briefing, the response was that yes, as that happens in a war, our assets might have taken a hit, but our pilots are safe, and we would not like to go into the details of how many and where and which planes, because we are still in the middle of an ongoing operation, which is, of course, Operation Sindhur. So, two questions, sir. Number one, the superiority, so-called superiority of Pak Chinese weapons. Number two, Rafales.
Okay, so let me first add to something.
Sure.
Every time when a India-Pakistan skirmish takes place, Pakistan always uses British media to sow doubt within Indian minds as to the superiority of Pakistan weapons. Every time it is all bean counting. They lost 3, I lost 2, I won the war. That's not the point. The point is simply this. First of all, did the Indian aircraft achieve their mission? They did. They destroyed 9 terror camps. They did. Right from Muzaffarabad down to Bahawalpur. They did. Did the Indian aircraft then again not launch strikes? They did launch strikes. So there was no deterrence in Pakistan. So the point is, if I was really afraid of something, I wouldn't go back. Right? So I again went back and again I struck at 11 air bases and plus air defense installations with impunity, because there was hardly any air defense in Pakistan. That is the biggest problem that Pakistan will have to face now. Second thing, did the Pakistani Air Force come within India? No. Why were they afraid if they had such great weapons? If they had such great Chinese weapons? Let me tell you, I don't want to really go into details because you get into classified territory. The point is that even the aircraft which possibly went down had completed its mission. It was pulled down through what is called cooperative targeting, as in Air Force Jingo. But it had completed its mission. It had bombed the target and it had come back. First of all. So the point is, if you are so great, why didn't you come inside? Why were you sending those Turkish ammunition which had 5 kilo of explosive? Why did you target the Indian air bases with 15 kilos of ammunition for explosive? If that was so great, why didn't you come inside? So the fact remains is, all this is absolute white lie. And this whole business of Chinese weapons, I think I'll now address what it is.
Yeah.
See, there is, in the defense world is a very amazing world where there is a huge amount of money involved and everything is involved. So you try and play down things and you try and put down things for your future objectives. Now, this whole business saying Rafale did not do its job, it's utter nonsense. But there is a much bigger game in this. You see, India has a contract of 114 multi-role fighter aircraft, which is worth 20 billion. Now, everybody is vying for this aircraft, for this tender. There is Eurofighter, there are American planes, and then there is French Rafale. So if you put down Rafale and if you actually think the Chinese are so great, then you actually sow this doubt in the Indian mind that, are we sure that we bought a plane? But the fact remains is, did Rafale do its job or not? Rafale did its job. Second thing, India can afford a plane or two getting down. Okay, India has a huge budget, defense budget, and fact of the matter is that all the pilots are safe. So this is a typical ploy that is even played during Kargil, typical ploy that continues over the years, sort of trying to whitewash things, making terrorists into villains, making freedom fighters. At least we should come to we don't even know the definition of what terrorists are. Why does the Western world tell? What is the definition of the terrorist? So the point in this is Rafale did its job. Okay? And we don't mind losing a plane because we are prepared for it. When we went inside, we told them that we were striking. Ghar mein ghus ke marunga. So they were prepared for it. So there is no, the fact is, okay, we lose a plane, fine. We lost more planes in 1971, we won the war. We lost more planes in 1965, we won the war. We lost more planes in Kargil, we won the war. Do you want to win a war, or you want to hallucinate that you actually won a war where you actually were down on the mat, cured by Narendra Modi?
India has said this categorically, very clearly. All our pilots are safe, pilots are home. And as far as assets, including planes, are concerned, if somebody were to make a case for their plane, then of course this would be perhaps one of the ways to do it. But
in this point, I want to just add one more thing. Sure. The fact remains is, if their planes were so great, the Air Force will come out which planes Pakistan has lost. Right. And I can promise you, there'll be a JF-17 in that, and there is a very strong possibility that there will be an F-16 in that also. So let them come out. I am not going to second guess anything. But let me tell you, Pakistan, we shot at Pakistani aircraft. The Air Force knows which planes went down, right? Then the Western media will actually come out. Was it really an F-16? Was it really a JF-17? Then they will ask for details. It's a typical thing, that ploy, which then feeds into the opposition narrative, asking the government, what did you bring down? What did you didn't bring down? You see, the airspace as well as the land and air battle theater is very transparent. You know what has happened and where it has happened. So we know what has been hit and what hit has Pakistan made on India. You can see all the air bases are functioning. There is no question about it. Nothing has been hit.
As far as questions are concerned, questions, of course, in a democracy need to be answered by governments, and there is a time for all kinds of questions. And when there is an ongoing military operation, some of the details, well, we can, for the time being, live without. And of course, India being a democracy, some of those questions will be answered later. They will be raised for sure. But having said that, sir, my last question to you is, where do we go from here?
The DGMOs will talk today, and the Indian DGMO will clearly say that you violated the ceasefire after it was done on May 10th. India is a responsible country. That is why India did not retaliate on that moment. It is not because that India was afraid of anything. It is the Pakistan army, which was pusillanimous, which approached the Americans after we didn't want to talk to them, and tried to find out a way to slink out or slime out of the battle. Now it is for the Pak DGMO to actually reverse what he has done, because we have made it very clear that next strike, terror strike, is an act of war. It is he who has to decide where he wants to take it from here. Our position is very clear that anything that happens towards India now, it will be an act of war. Second thing, we have to be prepared, since India has hit the motherships of Lashkar-e-Taiba as well as Jaish-e-Mohammed as well as Harkatul Mujahideen. These guys, who are actually the strategic assets of Pakistan army, they will try and retaliate, be it in Jammu and Kashmir or be it in hinterland, through their own overground workers. We have to watch out for that, and that is the task that the Indian intelligence must deliver on. You cannot force the government with only one option, and that is to go to war. So these are the two things that has to happen, and it is for the global community as well as the talk shop UN to insist on Pakistan that it does not do anything like this again. Because if it does again, let me tell you, Prime Minister Narendra Modi knows the art of playing Russian roulette. He is not going to back down, and neither are his advisors going to do that.
Yeah, Russian roulette. I'm not sure in these times we should be using such phrases. But having said that, thank you so much, sir, for explaining to us in detail about some of those questions which were, of course, left hanging since, of course, this stopped. But having said that, in about an hour from now, viewers, it's 10:58. 1200 hours is when the DGMO of India will have a word with DGMO of Pakistan. And of course, the details of that conversation as and when they come out, we will of course share with those details with you here. But thank you for watching us today. Thank you.